Good morning, my dear students. So today I am here with English class number 4, and today we will be continuing on the story that we have been discussing for the past 2 days, The Gentleman of the Jungle. So if you were here right in front of me, like if it was a live classroom or something, I would have asked you the questions like what all the things that we have discussed so far, isn't it? Now before we could proceed, or before we could come to exactly where are we doing or what exactly we discussed in the last class, a couple of questions should be in your mind, like who's the author of this play, or who's the author of this story? So you should be having answer ready with you. So the title, what do you understand by the title, The Gentleman of the Jungle? What do you mean by colonization? What do you mean by colonialism? So if you keep on asking these types of the questions, you will come to know, isn't it? And what do you mean by a fable? A fable is a story where mostly the animals will be the characters. One example that I can give you, or if I have to ask you, like what could be the example that you can think? You can say, yes, The Jungle Book, isn't it? The Jungle Book. Or you might have seen a movie like, The Lion King, isn't it? So a fable is a story where mostly the characters will be animals. Okay. Then we started off discussing with, the story, and what we have seen so far is that the tiger has come in between because it is of the opinion that who has disturbed the peace in my kingdom, isn't it? So that's what the lion, the king of the jungle, says, isn't it? So I think we were at a point where we saw that when there was a heated argument, when these two, both the man and the elephant, when they were talking to each other very loud, maybe in terms of like a kind of a quarrel or something. Okay, when the noise was so high, we could see that not only these two were present, but also it had given a way for the other animals to come in and see what exactly are they doing. So they were very curious or excited to know, like what the discussion is all about. So meanwhile, what we see here is that the king of the jungle finally comes to the rescue of, let us see whom does he rescue as the king of the jungle. So we stopped at a point where the lion came roaring because it is of the opinion that who is the one who is disturbing the peace in my kingdom. Then he also says to us, like that the lion who wanted to have a peace and tranquility, right? I think I stopped somewhere. Don't you all know that I'm the king of the jungle? How dare anyone disturb the peace in my kingdom? So this is what he says the moment he sees about the quarrel or about the discussion that was happening between. Then on hearing this, page number 2, I am on the last paragraph. You can follow it in your text. On hearing this, the elephant, who was one of the high ministers in the jungle kingdom. So underline that, that is one of the high ministers. So elephant was belonging to the highest minister of the kingdom, okay, of the jungle kingdom, or whatsoever can understand, replied in a soothing in a very melodious or maybe in a very low noise, is that, my lord, there is no disturbance of peace in your kingdom. I have only been having a little discussion with my friend here as to the possession of this little hut which keep your lordship sees me occupying. So I'm just here only with a discussion with the man about a hut and also about its belongingness. Whom does it belong to? Okay, when the story opened, the hut was very much belonged to the man. But the man, when he made a friendship with the elephant, there was a hailstorm or there was a thunderstorm. Don't forget all those words. And because of that, you saw like what exactly happened, how elephant came to the man asking for a help. In turn, what happened, that all should be there in your mind. Okay, so we are just discussing here about the possession or about whom does this hut belong to, which you can see that I am occupying now. Then the lion started speaking, and he said that the lion who wanted to have peace and tranquility. Peace and tranquility. What do you mean by tranquility? Tranquility is nothing but happiness. Okay, so peace and tranquility in my kingdom, replied in a noble voice, saying, I command my ministers to appoint a commission of inquiry. When the lion saw that both of them were discussing something about a possession of a hut or so, the lion said that I want peace and happiness in my kingdom, so I command, I order you. That is, I command, I order the ministers to appoint an inquiry commission. Heard of this word? Inquiry commission. A commission of inquiry to go to go thoroughly into this matter and report accordingly. So he immediately told the ministers to set up an inquiry or a commission of inquiry to go through the matter and report it to the king of the jungle. He then turned to the man and said, the lion turned towards the man and said that you have done well by establishing friendship with my people. Look at the way how lion is trying to convince the man. He says that you have done a very good thing, that you are becoming friends with my fellow people, especially with the elephant, who is one of my honorable ministers of state. Look at it. Don't you think it's irony there? Irony, something that is not true, isn't it? Like he keeps on saying that he is one. The lion of the jungle keeps on telling, or he is on the side of elephant. He keeps on always saying that the elephant is one of the high ministers, and now he says that the elephant is one of his honorable ministers of the state. Don't you think it's irony? Why? You know the reason for that, right? So, elephant, who is one of my honorable ministers of the state, do not grumble anymore. Don't shout anymore. Your hut is not lost to you. Don't worry, you have not lost your hut to you. Wait until the sitting of my imperial commission. Now you have to underline this word, imperial commission. Who knows, tomorrow you may have a question. What is the name of the inquiry commission that was set up by the king of the jungle? So you should be in a position to answer that question by saying that the name of the committee was Imperial Commission. So my Imperial Commission, and there you will be given a plenty of opportunity to state or to speak about your case. I am sure that you will be pleased with the findings of the commission. The man was very pleased by these sweet words. Look at that. Do you think it is real? So he was very much convinced because of the sweet words of the king of the jungle, and then he said that, that innocently waited for his opportunity in the belief that naturally the hut would be returned to him. The man is now full of dreams, or the man is convinced to such an extent that how sweet the lion of the jungle is speaking, and because of this inquiry or because of this inquiry commission or something, the man was very much confident that the hut would definitely come back to him. This is what his expectation is. You're following? Okay. Now what do we see here is that the man has got convinced by the sweet words that were spoken by the animals, especially with the lion of the jungle. So you got to understand now this story in terms of colonization, what exactly I have told you in the beginning of my class. Okay. So man is now with a high expectation that the hut would definitely be given back to him. So let us see what happens further. Then the elephant, obeying the command of his master. Who is the master? The lion. Got busy with other ministers to appoint the commission of inquiry. So the king of the jungle had to agree to the orders that were given by the king of the jungle. So they, elephant, including elephant, including animal elephant, other animals also became very much busy, because now they are trying to set up an commission of inquiry and they want to include the members, right? See, commission of inquiry. The following elders of the jungle were appointed to sit in the commission. So finally, an inquiry commission was made, and who were the members? It is given in the text. Number 1, it is Mr. Rhinoceros. The second one was Mr. Buffalo. The third one was Mr. Alligator. And the fourth one was Lieutenant Honorable Mr. Fox. And he was acting as the chairman. Chairman, who is the head now? He would be the head. Who? A fox. In general situation, what is the, how do you understand an animal like, fox? Cunning, isn't it? The moment you think of the word fox, what is the word that comes to your mind? Cunning, isn't it? So in the similar way, look into the irony that the Iomo Kenyatta uses here. Okay, so he says that Lieutenant Honorable Mr. Fox was appointed as a chairman, and Mr. Leopard was acting as a secretary to the commission. Now these are the details. Okay, you should be having here the names of these 5 members who were set up or who were in the inquiry commission, and they were given their different roles, where Fox is the chairman and Mr. Leopard is acting as the secretary along with others, like Buffalo is there, there is a rhinoceros, and there is a, was one more thing, alligator. Okay, so these are the 5 members who are there now in the setup inquiry commission. On seeing the personnel, the man protested and asked if it was not necessary to include in this commission a member from his side. So the man got angry, like, why have you created or why have you appointed only animals as the members? Why not from my side? That is, why not from man, or why not one from my side? So he was just trying to protest, or he was just trying to think like, why have you not included people from our side into the inquiry commission? So this was the thought that was coming in his mind, but he was told that it was impossible. Look at the way how they respond. But it was said that it is impossible to put anybody from the people of that particular village or whatsoever for the inquiry commission. It is impossible, since no one from his side was well enough educated to understand the intricacy, rules and regulations of the jungle law. Look at the answers, look at the way they defend themselves. So all these animals put together, they are saying that it is impossible to put anyone from the man's side into the inquiry commission, because they do not know they do not know properly the laws of the jungle. Getting? So this is what the answer that was given to the man, because when he protested that why there is nobody from my side. Further, that there was nothing to fear, for the members of the commission were all men of repute for their impartiality in justice, and they were gentlemen chosen by God to look after the interest of race less adequately endowed with teeth and claws. He might rest assured that they would investigate the matter with the greatest care and report impartially. So this word keeps on repeating in this paragraph, impartial, being impartial, being impartial. So what we see here is that an inquiry commission has been set up, and all the members in the inquiry commission are from the animal side or from the animal side, and there is no chance for man to include a person from his own side. When it was asked, it was told that the people or the human beings doesn't know the rules and regulations or the laws of the jungle, and the lion, the king of the jungle, is of the opinion that he has approved the commission members, those 5 members, because they are very strong enough, and he says that they would definitely look into the matter very seriously, and they will give a report impartial to the king of the jungle for the hearing. This is what it is told in this paragraph. So what do we see here is that the man who was in the hut, the man to whom this land was belonging, is now being slowly removed from all the other aspects relating to his case. Getting? So, the first instance we have already discussed about how this elephant did to this man, and now after the enquiry commission that was set up, still the man was ignored. That is what you need to understand. But on the other hand, they say that these animals are very strong enough, they have their teeth and claws and all those stuff, and they would not do any kind of impartiality, and they will always be abide by the true side of the case, because they are considered to be the men from God. You need to understand it as a fable, okay? Don't exactly consider this as only animals. When I say animals, you have to think in terms of colonization, Britishers. In that way, you got to understand. So, the king of the jungle, that is lion, is of the opinion that he has appointed all of them partially, and he is confident of the fact that the case or the matter would be resolved without any impartiality. Do you think it is really true that these animals put all together will give a partial judgment? Let us see whether they will really give the partial judgment. In the next page, on page number 4, you have been given a picture, and in that picture you could see that the whole of enquiry commission is sitting, and you could see that the man is just being ignored, and he is being just sitting outside without knowing what is being discussed inside the hut. Can you see that picture? So, analyze it, okay? You can have your own views and reviews to the picture there. So, what I could see here is that all those things, that is the set of the enquiry commission members are sitting together inside, but the man has been ignored and is being asked to sit outside of his hut. Irony, isn't it? Just look into it. Then, the commission sat to take the evidence. Now, they are all the members of the enquiry commission have started up to look at the matter, what exactly has happened. So, the commission sat to take the evidences. So, they are just looking for the evidence. What is an evidence? Yeah, you know that, right? So, they all are looking for the evidences in order to settle down the matter, or in order to report, or in order to give a proper report to the jungle, the king of the jungle. Then, the Lieutenant Honorable Mr. Elephant was first called. Whom did they call? The first one from their own side, that is, the elephant was called. He came along with a superior air. Superior, he was coming very majestically, like, the elephant was coming with all proudness, it came brushing his tusks with an sapling which Mrs. Elephant had provided. Look at the way how he explains. Okay, so brushing his tusks, that is, the elephant came roaring, or the elephant came with a very proud moment, and it was coming towards this, and it was brushing the tusk and sapling, small plant, you know that, right? So, sapling and brushing the tusks which the Mrs. Elephant had provided, and in an authoritative voice said, "Gentlemen of the jungle, there is no need for me to waste your valuable time in relating a story which I am sure you all know." Look at the way how elephant has started speaking, isn't it? It is very confident now, and it is being very proud, and they almost, it seems that, like, the case is going towards home. It is going towards, or it is going to their law or something. Let us see what happens there. Okay, so the very first word that was told by the elephant was that, I don't want to waste the valuable time. You know the story very well. I have always regarded it as my duty to protect the interest of my friends, and this appears to have caused the misunderstanding between myself and my friend here. So, he says that it is just a misunderstanding between me and my friend. We all are animals, we all are friends, and I would definitely state this case in the form of benefiting to my friends, that is, to my fellow mates, rather than the friend whom I am talking to for. Appears to have caused a misunderstanding. It's just a misunderstanding between myself and my friend here. Look at the way. The very next sentence is, he invited me to save his hut from being blown away by a hurricane. So they have all the reasons to state their case there, isn't it? So Mr. Elephant can be understood as one of the Britishers who is coming and stating his case with all false allegations, isn't it? Was it real? Was it true that the elephant, the man requested the elephant to come and save his hut because of blowing it away because of the hurricane? No, right? It was the elephant who came and rather requested the man there. So don't you think that it is a story of colonialism? Don't you think that it is an example for colonization? Look into this. So he invited me to save his hut from being blown away by a hurricane. As the hurricane had gained access owing to the unoccupied space in the hut, I considered it is necessary in my friend's own interest to turn the undeveloped space to a more economic use by setting it in myself, a duty which any of you would undoubtedly have performed with equal readiness in similar circumstances. That is, the elephant kept on telling, the elephant kept on telling or stating the case by saying all the false allegations against the man who was actually the owner of the hut. But the hurricane, the thunderstorm or the hailstorm was just a reason that was taken by the elephant to state the case to the inquiry commission, saying all the false allegations against the man, isn't it? So what it said? The man himself invited me to come and sit in the hut in order to save the hut because it might be blown away by the hurricane or maybe because of the bad weather or something. When he requested me, I had to go because what is the physique of an elephant? An elephant is a very biggest animal is what we consider there, isn't it? In the similar way, what we see here is that the elephant is making all the false allegations or accusations on man, saying that the man himself invited him to come and sit in the hut in order to save the hut from the weather. So now elephant is stating to the inquiry commission that if you were in my place, I am sure you would have also done the same thing in order to save the hut of the man or something, and this was the word that was given to the inquiry commission. Are you following it up? Okay, so these are the things that have been happening here. Then after hearing the retinal Honorable Mr. Elephant's conclusive evidence, the commission called Mr. Haina and 3 elders of the jungle who also supported what elephant had said. That is, the elephant is making all the false accusations or allegations on man. Okay, now the elephant is very prompt, it is very confident, and it is very proud of stating its case, okay, completely ignoring the man. And not only that, the other friends of elephant, especially he takes an example of Mr. Haina, who also supported Mr. Elephant, what he had said. That is, the elephant started calling his friends who also started supporting elephant but not the man. That is what you got to understand there. Okay, so he also supported Mr. Haina, and 3 other elders of the jungle were called, and all these animals who were called supported the view of the elephant only. Then they called the man finally. Okay, so at last finally they called the man, who began to give his own account of the dispute. So finally they called. First, what you have to see here is that first there was an inquiry commission, and in that inquiry commission it was only all the animals from the jungle were only included. Okay, and once the inquiry commission was set up, we see that the elephant has gained confidence in such a level that it started giving false accusations against the man, right? And not only that, it was also supported by all other elder animals of the jungle who definitely supported the elephant but not the man. Before they could come to any kind of a conclusion or something, the inquiry commission members, all the leopard or alligator or maybe fox, right, fox and buffalo, right. So these members, before they could give a verdict, judgment, before they could give any judgment, finally they gave a chance and the man was called. Let us see what the man does. They called the man, who began to give his own account. So the man started off telling the exact story what had happened, but the commission cut him short. So when he was about to say something, the inquiry commission told him not to speak anything. So they cut him short, saying, "My good man, please confine yourself to the relevant issues. We have already heard the circumstances from various unbiased, something that has not been, something that was not been manipulated, unbiased. We have already heard the issue from elephant, from other three jungle members of our family about your case. So we don't give you enough time. So if you have to speak, you have to speak with some evidences to it. We have already heard the circumstances from various unbiased sources. All we wish you to tell us is whether the undeveloped space in your hut was occupied by anyone else before Mr. Elephant assumed his position." So they did not allow him to speak much because they have already come into a kind of a conclusion, because they all are Britishers or they are all are animals. So in that way you understand the story, all right. And we see here that just don't give us anything indifferent to what the animals have said. So all you wish to tell us is whether the undeveloped is a reference to Africa, okay, undeveloped space in your hut was occupied by anyone else before Mr. Elephant assumed his position. So they are asking him a question about the hut, whether there was anyone else who was already come or who had already occupied the hut before Mr. Elephant was occupied. What could be the answer of a man? Obviously no, right? Before elephant, the land was belonging to themselves, or the hut was belonging to himself only, isn't it? So when they started asking him about these irrelevant questions, okay, when they started telling him about the questions that are not at all related to the case, the man was in a fix. He was not able to give any answer. So look at the man. The man began to say, "No, the elephant did not occupy before I could, or because I was the owner of the land, isn't it? So I was very much there." So that undeveloped space is a reference to a country like Africa. Okay. So what we see here is that the the inquiry commission members are almost onto the verge of giving their own judgment or something. So I will stop here and I'll continue the rest of the lesson. Hopefully in the next class I'll be able to complete it. Okay. So far whatever we have been discussed, please see to it that you keep a track in terms of how story unfolds from the beginning and what are the things that we have discussed, and give your special attention to the spellings, and also give your special attention to the one word questions that might be or that may be asked in your examination, and also understand the story. Okay, my dear students, it is not that you have to remember whatever I discussed. No. Okay, you can also have your own way of reading the text, but understand as and when the text progresses towards the term called colonization. Hope you are enjoying, or hope you are getting to know what am I discussing, and you also have your own reading. So after watching this video or something, probably you can also read the text once again, and probably in the next class of mine I will try to conclude this story, The Gentleman of the Jungle. Okay, so thank you very much, and I shall meet you in the next class with the continuation. Okay, thank you very much.